before we reorder these items here, these are promoted to the front page. I'm going to create, or at least if I have existing different content items, I'll just promote those as well. So I started out already logged in and on my league's homepage, and that's where I'll find my Administer League Site menu because I want to hop over to all of my content. So that's through Manage Content. If the list is possibly not showing you everything that you know is within your site, and this includes slideshow items, pages, everything that is listed with the word add and then has a content type, all of these different content types are going to be visible in this list. If it is a smaller list than expected, check that these aren't narrowing down the list. So set every one of those to any and hit apply. And that's just worth noting because if you do search for something, let's say you search just for committee and you hit apply, you leave this page and you come back, the committee type is still going to be selected. And so we have that just as any. Let's go ahead and use my join page. Because I already have it published, I can save myself the trouble of editing the draft. There are a couple of different ways that you can promote a content item. And this, just by going through manage content, this is going to be one of the ways. Check the box for one or as many of the content items that you want to see promoted to the front page. We'll work with 2, so you can see how that works. And under operations, we'll choose promote to front page. There's definitely a whole lot of other worthwhile operations in here, but we'll focus on promote to front page for right now. And then we hit execute. Depending on how many were in your batch, that loading bar might take a little bit longer, but you're confirmed by getting that green success bar, and then also you'll see that there's now the word updated next to each one of those that you selected. Now we want to check that out by going over to our home page. Just use that list of my league sites. Okay. And we now have these added to the front page. So something to know about the order, the natural order of these items on the front page that are promoted there, they are being listed in descending chronological order. So the fresher, the newer the item, the higher it sits at the top.
So I had a question just about that.
Yeah.
It seems like if you're trying to show people what's coming up closest to when they look at it, you'd want it in the opposite order. Because if you put in things for the future, you know, they get put to the top, and all the things that are happening right then and there are way down in the list. Does that make sense to anybody else?
That makes sense to me.
Then I feel like I might have put it wrong. So the newer the item, so if you created something today and you had something that was created as you had a content item that you created yesterday, the one that's created today is at the top. Is
so
that
it's
the same?
Not when the event happens, it's when you created it.
That's right. Yeah.
But usually you create the things that are, you know, as you go along. So if I have something that's happening in September, I may create it in August because I'm trying to put things on the calendar.
Mm-hmm.
But then if I create something else in September, that goes ahead of that, and people, and it may be after it, and people want to see what is coming up right now, I would think, on the homepage, rather than having it put, because if the more you put up there, it pushes the thing that's coming up most recently I mean, coming up right away,
Mhm.
way down in the page. Does anybody else see it that way?
Yeah,
That's how I see it.
Yeah, that is the behavior, just because there are more than just events that are being promoted to the front page. It is best to have it working by the creation date. But if you are in a situation like how you put, Liz, where you create an event that's maybe a few months out, and then a month or two down the road, you create another event or article that's much more timely and you'd like it to be seen sooner, then this kind of workaround that we'll go over will help in those situations. So let's work with the join page. I want to see that one higher than, I just wanted to see it as the first one on the list. So my goal here is to have the creation date of the join page be newer or fresher than the DEI page. So to start out, I want to look at the DEI page. I want to look at the topmost item so that I can see from which date I'm working off of. Because if I'm, yeah, go ahead.
your landing page or
Yeah, that was my home page, the landing page there.
okay.
So
Oh,
I
there.
have just these 4 items. And let's actually, sorry, before I get in there, I'm going to throw up an event too. Let's see, sorry, I'm going to jump back to manage content to find one of those. Just so that we have something that has a date separate from the creation date. Okay. So again, promote that and execute. Okay. So now we have 5 items to work with. All right, and so now I have just one more item now at the top. I'm assuming, it's probably pretty safe to assume that the DEI page is after June 2020. So depending on if you're fine tuning the order of each of these, or if we're just gonna plop one in there, you'll possibly be looking at the creation date of all of these. But let's just go with the memorial event here. I'll open that in the same window. So to check out the creation date, you need to get to the new draft. And however you get to the new draft, whether it was through the manage content page or through the way that we just did it here, you're going to get to the very bottom to where we have the authoring information. And so with events, we saw it earlier, it's easier to see the creation date because it was, let me open that in a new tab. We saw that it was listed as submitted by league name in June 2020. Those are a little bit easier to work with, but if you're working with anything else where you do need to see the authoring information, this is how you would come over to check out what exactly that was. So this was just for me to look at the date of the item. Now let's go back to the join page instead. And hopefully this will make a bit more sense once we actually get into making the change of the creation date. Yet another way of getting into the draft is if you see one of these cogs appear or gears, you can click onto edit draft. So now my goal for the creation date of join is to make it fresher or more recent than June 24th, 2020, because that's what we saw for the event. So again, coming all the way down to the authoring information, I can change it by the day. I can change the month. I could even put it for a date in the future. It won't reject that entry. Or you could even just do it by the time if you were just making everyone in order of the minute, just as long as it is a manipulated order that you have that is more recent than the one at the top of your list currently. So I'll leave that as 625. And I'll go ahead and leave that as a draft to show that it won't take place until you publish that. Or I'm sorry, no, it does jump on over. So that was simply by editing the creation date. To the user, the only difference that they're going to see is the order of the list. So what we just saw, how it jumped from being the third to the first in the list. Well, and actually, let's, we'll leave the join page alone, and let's do that again with the about page. We know that we've just set that to 625, and this one is 624. So for this one, let's actually, let's also show sticky items as well, because I know that I haven't talked about that one, and I know that several of you make use of sticky to reorder these items as well. So if you have items that are made sticky, that can also make the expected order a bit different. So let's make the DEI page sticky, and just like the promoted to front page, there's the same two ways of doing it. You can go through manage content and use the operations, or do the method that we're doing here and go straight down to the publishing options. And we'll make that sticky. And being that it's a publishing option, we do need to publish it in order to see it. Otherwise, that change in it being made sticky would not be evident.
So did you click? Oh, I see. There's the check boxes for sticky.
Mm-hmm. So we just see the result of sticky by it being now at the top.
When it says top of lists, LISTS, all right. So do the lists themselves, is there any way that a bunch of items of the same category come at once and then the next bunch? I mean, why is it plural? Why isn't it at the top of the whole thing, the list?
There are several lists throughout your site. So this promoted to front page section is considered one that is under your page title. And then the action alerts is another, articles, calendar, and actually positions and members only. So aside from the promoted to front page section, it's these pages as well, because they have that that same kind of gray bar. And so depending on how you've told your site to show it there, like for example, the members only content is showing here because we've told the site mark this as private. Similarly to how we've told the site promote these to the front page. So just dropping in as we tell the site to do so. And they're all, at least the order of them, with the exception of the calendar, they're all going to be by order of the creation date. The calendar is by order of the event date. And then with all of these lists, calendar included, when things are made sticky, they're going to sit right at the top.
Okay, I was getting confused. I thought lists referred to categories of things like events or the different pages.
I see.
But so I got it now.
Awesome. Yeah. Though you may see lists is also referred to as views in our documentation a lot of the time, or listing pages.
So Amaris, this is Mary Jo, ignorant. So say that we've got 3 items on the landing page that at some point we made sticky. So that means those 3 are always going to be at the top. And so maybe we're having tonight's our meeting and we're thinking, oh, okay, we really want that to be on top. And maybe it was on the 3rd. So then we would go in and change the date. We would edit the date.
Or you could also unstick some items, because if you change the date, it will depend on if you have one item that is sticky. So let's actually
Let's
just
say we had 3.
3 items that are sticky all at the same time.
I don't know. Does that make sense? Where's Peggy?
Yeah,
that
that
okay.
makes sense.
Right.
It is possible to have multiple items made sticky at the same time.
Well, excuse me for interrupting. So
No, go
say
ahead.
we made some sticky means it's going to be at the top, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so then we do something else and we say, oh, that's really important. We want that to be on top. So then it goes on top and then the other one's right underneath it.
Yeah, and it's still technically that first one, because it has not been made unstuck.
Yeah.
It is still kind of squished up there in the top spot, but because you've made a newer one sticky,
Oh,
that
is it going to
other
look,
one.
will it look funny aesthetically?
For the, it
guess
won't
we'll have to
look
look.
funny. The purple and gold sites do have a bit of a different look. Let me see if I can jump over to a purple and gold site. We saw with the red and blue site, when I made that DEI page sticky, it didn't really, as far as visually, it didn't add anything different. But this post here that we have promoted is made sticky because it has that golden outline.
Uh-huh.
So that's what tells us it is sticky. So let's actually work with this.
Well, excuse me for interrupting. So I'm so ignorant. So why is there something newer than that?
Because this is made sticky. If I made observer report sticky, and I'm just guessing.
I'm looking at, isn't there one on top of that? I thought it looked like there was.
No, this
that.
one up here, this is
Yeah.
just text as part of the body.
Oh, that's not an item.
No.
Got it. Thank you.
But let's actually make this one sticky. I'm pretty sure that it's going to be newer than August 2018. So what we should see is this observer report, as soon as I make it sticky, jump up above this one here. So let's edit that draft.
So you're saying within the sticky things, those are also positioned according to date. So we essentially have the sticky bunch at the top in order of date, and then
when you stuck them
in order of date.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
That's a great way to put it, the sticky bunch, because they are technically following the same rules, but to their own, holding to their own group. Okay, had a blank for a second there. Okay, let's make this one sticky, and we'll publish that to see that straight away. All right. So now there we have it with it up above. So now this will be better to work with now that we have two different items that are made sticky. So is this kind of a situation where, like how you're explaining, Mary Jo, let's say this is where you would be coming to wanting to post a newer item, and you're coming to a situation like this where you have two older items already made, or multiple items made sticky?
Well, I guess I was thinking that maybe we had 3 things that were sticky, and maybe one was, one of our meetings, but over time it becomes the 3rd one. And because it's getting closer to that meeting, I want to make it on top again.
I see. Okay. Okay. If that is the case, you have a couple of options. One would be unsticking the other items. So you could do it through the new draft, either there or from the page itself, how we just did, going down to the publishing options. And I just want to show that because I also want to show you the other way. So it would just be unchecking the sticky at top of list box and then publishing once again to save.
But then
Or
it could push it way down. Right?
it could, yeah, depending on the order of the other items. And so if that is the case, if it does push it further than you want it, then editing the creation date would be the next step.
Okay.
The other way is going through your Administer League site menu and going through Manage Content. This one, or this method, you would have to know the names of the items. Let's see, I think the other one was some crazy long name. Yeah. And you can unstick from the operations. And this one method is you're able to apply it to more than just one item, because the other way is just per that content item that you're editing.
Well, is the best practice typically to just maybe have one to be the most important one? I don't know. Is there a best practice, or?
We don't really have a best practice on it. It really, because it could totally work with more than one.
Yeah, we like the look.
Yeah. Yeah. So it is that the use of that is totally up to you. It's just beneficial in knowing how that stickiness will affect the order.
I have
go
somebody I work with who puts in events, and she makes everything sticky. So then I'm just going, but
at that point, if everything is made sticky, it's almost as if it's working as usual.
Yeah, well, but it seems like if you have like 5 events that you want to put in, that you really should put them in reverse order, then, so that,
that is a good point.
Limit, it comes in the right order.
Yeah, that
So you can change the order of the sticky items by changing the creation date of those items?
Yes. Yeah. So if you want to keep items that are sticky, you can keep them sticky. You just change the creation date.
So events, are they also ordered by creation, or are they ordered by event date?
The calendar space, that listing page, this is ordered by the event date. And let's actually.
And if I promote an event to the front page, so that it's in that list.
In that area on the front page, it is by creation date.
Okay.
So it's the space that dictates it, not the content type.
So within the calendar list, it's by event date, kind of in reverse order. And on the promoted to the front page, it's creation date that determines where it shows up.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
Good, thanks.
Yeah. So the reverse uploading or creating your events in reverse order is beneficial really to your if you're going to promote them to the front page. If you aren't going to promote them to the front page, you can do it either way. Just going to create some simple events here so that we have something to work with on this sample calendar. Oops.
What was that at the top?
This will happen to you if you belong to more than one league. League
Oh.
to which this content belongs field is required.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, if that happens, that just means you didn't choose which league. But most of you probably don't have to worry about that. Okay, I'm gonna clone this very simple event so that, because if I make one lone event sticky, we won't see any difference. Okay. Those are upcoming. All right, so now if I hop over to my calendar, I have, oh, and that's another thing, if you hadn't already noticed about the calendar, if you're subscribed to other leagues, their events are flush with yours. So I have a Sac County event here, and then my events, because they come up after that Sac County event, and then it continues with any other events after mine. Okay, so let's start out with just making this one sticky. So new draft again, just to get down to the publishing options. And sticky at top of lists. And publish and save.
Well, so you
Okay.
just made it sticky within, on the calendar page.
On the calendar, yeah.
I
And
guess we haven't done that, yeah.
and I could have actually promoted it to the front page as well, because the sticky setting, I'll do that while I'm talking about it. The sticky setting is a global setting, so it's going to affect
Okay,
the calendar, whatever list. It's going to,
okay.
whatever list it appears on. So let's do that. And especially because this is, it's sticky and I just created it today, it's going to be the very top. Another thing to note too, when you are creating something, just when you're barely first creating it, you can specify a creation date. So let's say, let's go back and add another event here. By specifying the creation date, if you already, you know, are keeping a tab of what the creation dates are of other things, or if you are uploading certain events in a different order, this can be your way of kind of strong arming it. So before we go all the way down, before we save this, the date and time is going to be blank, but whatever we put here will be accepted. So let's go ahead.
Well, that's under publishing, when you want it published.
Right. By default, when you come down to the bottom, publishing options is what first shows, but you want to click over to authoring information.
If we wanted to make it not show up for like a week or something.
The authoring information will be like if you wanted it to show up higher in the list or lower in the list. That is your way of suppressing it or bringing it up higher.
So Amaris,
Mm-hmm.
our league just kind of announced its calendar for or 3 events, our monthly meeting in November, December, and January. And so I needed to add those to our website. So I would like for the November meeting date to be at the top of the list, and the December under that, and January under that, because they're further in the future. So the creation date for November is going to have to be more into the future than December and January. Is that correct?
It would be the opposite. November would have, or no, yes, you're correct. November would have to be either more in the future or would have to be a recent date, and then December and January going in the past.
So I
Can
could,
you do it with time? Is
Yeah.
it
So
sensitive?
if we just changed it by the minute, and let me actually, I can't remember how many we have here. Let's promote these and then get through going back to them to reorder.
When there's some, like in the menu, when you can drag things around and it's such a nice interface to manage. And this is so convoluted that it's really a shame there isn't some tool that allows us to do this more easily.
Yeah, it
grabby-
definitely would be nice.
the grabby handles would be great.
I think we are trying to work towards something. I'm not sure how close the tech team is, but we have at least discussed trying to make this an easier process for webmasters. That kind of discussion came about after we've all wanted to make the subscribed content available for being promoted to the front page. So that has been kind of an ongoing difficult conversation. And so out of that came the, why don't we try to get them some easier way of reordering this? So I will check in with our tech team to see if there has been any progress. But yeah, just know that we are keeping that in mind. Because this
Well, I
is
guess
not the
I'd like the tech team to figure out what's going on the weekends when sometimes you just can't get things done because it's giving you these errors. Have they made any progress in understanding why that's happening?
we haven't been able to pinpoint or capture errors in the system as they're happening. So if you're still having those or experiencing those errors, please reach out to us in the moment, or even just make a note of when it happened so that we know kind of around the time, date and time that it happened, because our logs are full, or there's always messages coming in 100 times a minute. And so having a timestamp for the tech team to look at, they'll be able to see what was happening. Because as of right now, we haven't been able to recreate the error for them, and they haven't been able to recreate it themselves.
Right. I mean, I do put the time when it happens.
Yeah, and we did, based on the kind of last group of webmasters that reported the issue happening, we compiled that information, and based on if there were times given or just based on when the ticket was created, we were giving that information to our tech team, but they unfortunately just weren't able to find an error or something that would have hinted them to what would be causing it. So please do report as much information to us as you can if it does happen again, because that's our only hope to get them to recreate it.
I kind of am timid about doing work on the weekends because of it, because I get burned.
Has it only been on the weekends?
It seems like it's only the weekends. What about, has anybody else noticed that?
I'm lazy and don't work on the weekend.
You don't work on the weekends?
I try not to
Yeah, well,
What is it that you don't do on the weekend?
work.
And in case if anybody is not knowing the issue that we're talking about, it was the file upload error message that some webmasters were getting, and it was just I think it was along the lines of the file could not be uploaded, something like that. But has anybody experienced it during the week, maybe in the evening or anything like that?
I
Aside from
seriousness, I have not seen that error.
okay.
Yeah, I've seen that error, but I don't remember when, and I just waited and then I did it later and it worked. So I forgot what the timing was.
When you say later, Maddie, was it the same day?
I think it was the next day.
Okay.
Yeah, you
Okay.
go the next day and it's fine.
Yeah.
It's strange. I keep
Okay.
thinking it's not accessing one of the servers or something. It's just, it's not able to do the full, doesn't have access to the full suite that it needs.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure, but I'm hoping if I can tell them that the weekends is possibly a time that happens more often, that might help them in keeping an eye out.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And for sure, throw any information at us if you do see that come up again for you. So let's jump back to the reordering of this list. It is, we have a couple of items, I believe, that are made sticky. We won't, when it comes to the red and blue theme, it is a little bit harder just because the purple and gold theme tells you visually with the red or with the gold outline if something is made sticky. With the red and blue theme, we have to go in and double check. But I'm pretty sure I had a couple of sticky items. So it probably would have been easier if I worked with different named events, but let's go with it. Let's just make this easy, and hopefully this is a situation that many of you would find yourselves in. I'm going to go from join all of these first four. I'm going to reverse their order so that they're flipped, so that the order, instead of it being sample event, DEI, event, join, it's going to be join, event, DEI, and then sample event. To start out, I kind of have to get myself orientated and know which dates I'm working with. So to start, well, actually, I'm going to use the sample event. I'm going to use the easy way and just go based off of the October 2020 date. So I'm going to change the month rather than changing the day or the time, because that's all I can see here. So starting out with join, I'm going to edit that draft. So all I know is that I need it to be sooner than October 2020. So going down to the authoring information, come all the way down and click here on authoring info. And what I'll do is just start out with November 1. I have to jump back to the publishing options so that I can publish that and save. And let's check that out. Okay. So it looks like, so now that it has jumped up just one space, that tells me the DEI page is, the creation date is after November 1. And this sample event is most likely made sticky. So with both of those, I have to tackle them one at a time. So let's first unstick the sample event.
Could you please explain sticky? What I might miss you defining what sticky means.
Yeah, sticky makes it sit at the very top of the list. So that front page or that home page has a list right under the body text.
Okay.
And so we'll unstick it and it will no longer be taking priority, and the authoring info 1028, it will sit now under the join page. So once I save that, all right, now I have a little bit better, or at least more of what I was expecting. Now to further fine tune this, I want to squeeze the DEI page here under the join page. We just created this event today, and the creation date for the join page is November 1. So this needs to, the DEI page needs to be anywhere between 1028 till November 1. And if you made a note of the time, you could just change the hour or minute there. But to prevent having to go back and check that again, we'll just go with tomorrow's date without needing to change the time. And that is another reason we have this one made sticky. So I could have left the authoring information and unstuck it, but depending on your theme, especially if you're using the purple and gold, you might like the look. So going with the authoring information change is better there. And then we'll go ahead and save that. Okay, it's made sticky, so it is still sitting there. I should have known. Let's go through manage content to make my life easier. All right, so I am doing the same thing that I just did, just in reverse, by unsticking it this time.
You know, it'd be really nice if that list when the manage content page showed the date it was created, so we could easily, you know, see this information, you know.
I see, yeah.
The column. Do you know what I'm saying? Because
yeah.
we get the updated date, but we don't get the creation date, and that's what we're having to mess with.
I can say that the event does, and I believe the articles might, or the positions do as well. But let's see. I think I just need a title just so that we can see what that will look like as far as if it has that submitted by line. Again, sorry. I forgot to choose my league there again. Okay, so let's see what that looks like. Article. Okay. So there are a few of the content types that will say this. So you can make your life easier. If you have a page or a committee, let me use this drop down. So these are the content types that you're able to promote any one of those to the front page here. The only ones that will not have this, and I'm sorry, the only exception is the slideshow item. You cannot promote it to the front page. But every, or with the exception, I guess, committee form, I believe, and page, they're going to show up like this, where it doesn't have that submitted by line. But every other one, articles, events, action alerts, positions, that's it. They're going to have that submitted by line and that date. And this date is taken from the creation or the authoring information, the creation date.
But it doesn't have the day. So
It doesn't have the day. Yeah.
You really would like the day.
Yeah, that is true. It is that date and the time is only found in the authoring information tab. So did anybody have any other questions about reordering or wanting to see it again? I can rename some of these events if, or you know, give them different dates as well if it might be easier to follow.
Amaris, it's Mary Jo. I had something that's tangentially connected. I happened to look at my past events the other day, and it says past events for US League of Women Voter US plus Dearborn Heights. Where would that come from?
Oh, okay. Yeah, just to jump over to the view of past events page, that button is found on all of our calendars at the bottom. So the added names are coming from your subscriptions.
But I don't think we ever why would we subscribe to an event from US League of Women Voters unless we did it by mistake?
I'm not sure, but yeah, it would be coming from the subscriptions.
So, and I'm sorry, where do we change that?
Yeah, you'll go over to your homepage.
Yeah.
And it's done through a new draft
of
the homepage.
Homepage?
Of the homepage. So that to be able to control the subscriptions. So it's not going to be done through the calendar. It's done through the homepage.
Okay. Okay.
And then scrolling down to subscriptions.
Oh, okay.
There's going to be one specifically for league events subscriptions. Okay. And then you just need to click the X that's going to be next to, I think, oh yeah, the US. That's what it'll look like. Just click the X next to their name.
Okay. Now, why do you subscribe? I mean, what kind of event would the national have that anybody would care about? I mean, you can't go there.
They don't ever post events. I had this site was subscribed to the action alerts.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, no worries.
I see. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, for everyone's knowledge, the National League on their Milo site, and this information is always coming from a Milo site, the subscriptions here. The National League only posts action alerts and positions to their little Milo site. So that is the only content we would get from them automatically if you subscribe to them here.
You have to know the actual name, or is there, I mean, yeah.
To be able to subscribe?
Yes.
You need to know at least a portion of it. So if you knew like the middle, you have to start typing at least at the beginning of a word, but it could be anywhere in the middle of a league's name. The name that displays there for the most part should be the name without the League of Women Voters of portion, but because webmasters have control over the changing their own league name, you may see something a bit different. Like, let's see if, does anybody have league typed into their name? Yeah, like we have some that have made variations to their league name. So if it's not popping up as you expect, you might want to, you can always double check a league's name by coming to our homepage to my.lwv.org, and you can check by state. So if, let's say, you were looking for Tennessee Valley, but you were expecting it to be named something totally different, you can see it here and then know what to search for.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, when I do the past events, sometimes they're in a kind of screwy order, and I have trouble finding things sometimes. Is that something anybody else has noticed?
And that could be if again, if multiple items are made sticky, that could change the order. And because the
Oh.
calendar is affected by the sticky setting.
Oh,
Mhm.
that probably is what's going on, because I told you my colleagues makes everything sticky. So,
Yeah. And
uh,
see, and so in those situations, if you did want to unstick everything, going through manage content would be
yeah, that'd be
the
great.
best way to do that.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, because then you can just search by that type and do an entire list all at once.
Yeah, good. That's very helpful.
Awesome. Does anybody else have any other questions about this same subject?
No, mine's about a separate, it's kind of a simple,
Me too.
when you talked about promoting to the front page
Okay.
and you mentioned, okay, make sure that you click promote to the front page. So I'm on the front page of my league and I'm not sure where to start when it comes up. In other words, if I want a poster, for instance, to post that I have a copy of in the media file,
Mhm.
do I go down to Administrator League site menu and then click on something first? I'm thinking I'm missing a step here.
I see. Okay. Well, you do have it down right. I guess
Okay.
the first step would just be deciding what kind of content type you'd like it to be.
Uh-huh.
So, starting out with your Administer League site menu, you might want it to be an article and a newsletter, or
Some
if
kind
it,
of event that's current. Yeah.
okay. For the most part, the only thing that changes will be that submit byline, but let's go with add event,
Okay.
and you'll need to specify the title and time. If it's an event, you do need some kind of date and or time.
If it was just in this case, if it was just like a poster about voting, so it's of course under the subject matter of voting, would I then go to my front page and click on voting and put it in that category?
You could. Let me jump back to the home page before I continue with that creating of an event. If you come over to, and let's pretend like my voting page is there. I think I
Okay.
disabled it. If you add it to an existing page that's in your menu, it won't be visible until you promote it here.
Okay.
And once you've promoted it, you may have to tweak what shows up for the little preview here. So if we had a page, or I'm assuming your voting page is going to have a lot of other information on it. We'll have resources and stuff. So depending on if you want to add your image under at the bottom or if you want to add it here at the top, did you have a preference if you were thinking of adding it to an existing page, or?
I would probably, I really want to just promote it to the front page and not put it under a category because it's just a poster about voting. And so generally just speaking, I don't want to put it as an event. And so that's why I asked you, because I was a little
I
confused.
see.
Maybe not.
Yeah,
The
I
better
think,
way to do it.
maybe I think an article would probably make the most sense so that there's
Okay.
no date attached to it. Otherwise, if it was an event, you probably could go with election day. And
Yeah.
so either
Okay.
either or for those, but
Got it.
yeah, I think article would be another
Okay.
way of doing that.
Okay. Thank you.
For sure. I while we're on it too, if you want the is it a PDF or is it an image of a poster?
It's an image.
Okay,
That-
cool.
yeah.
If it's an image and you want it to display,
And just as a secret, it's being lent to me from the Diablo Valley League.
oh, cool.
So it's I looked for it in the media lab and I couldn't find it, so I downloaded it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I love seeing leagues share their resources.
I love it when you share.
Yeah.
everything.
So with wanting the image to show up just big in the page, we'll use the body. We're going to skip the main image and the alternate hero image.
Yeah.
And we'll just use the body.
Okay.
I'm gonna hopefully, well, did you say that it was already uploaded here to
It
the
should be uploaded already. Yes.
I see some early voter flyers. We might be able to use these just as an example if we don't find.
Yeah, we can just use it as an example right now. I'm not. It's got a child on the front of it, and it's entitled "I Can Vote."
Let's see. I just want to make sure it is.
Forms PMG. No, that's not it.
Okay, let's just
No, we
use
can
that
just use
other
it
one.
as a sample.
Okay. So as long as you're able to like see the image yourself, then that tells us it is in the right format, because
Okay.
then otherwise it would be just a grayed out box, and that tells us it's a PDF and won't display.
Okay.
So you select it and then we submit that. It is most likely going to just fill up the page like this. One thing, well, let me save this so that we can see how this would look.
Okay.
So let me choose my league. I'm going to promote this to the front page at the same time. So let's save that. This is how it will look. It looks great on the page. One recommendation that I would make just to help out anybody who is needing some like an accessible view of this, you might want to type in the information or have it available elsewhere on your site, or a link to it. Just because the images are not readable, they're not able to be scanned by, I'm blanking on the word, but by low vision visitors, they're using a screen reader. And so images don't have the text enabled. And so this is just something to think about. If you are going to use an image like this, maybe consider, like I said, if you had the text available somewhere else on your site, or if there's a link to an external site that has the same information, just to give those voters the same information as anybody else.
What was on the Mount Diablo site? Was it a PDF there?
It was a JPEG.
Oh, it was
I'm
always
looking
an
for
image.
it right now. I know it downloaded, but I've got to find it now. I don't.
Well, it doesn't matter if it's an
Yeah.
image. No, it won't satisfy what she's saying.
Right.
So it looks fine and dandy on the page itself, looking at the article. I promoted it to the front page, so I want to also see what it looks like there.
Oh, I'd just like to correct you. I did find it, and it's a png.pdf. That looks incorrect.
If it ends with .pdf, then that's the file type.
Okay.
It sounds like it might have gone from a picture to a PDF.
Yes, correct.
Okay. For this type of, for it to display, it does have to be a picture, because any PDF would show up as a link to it, and we would have to open it in a separate window.
Okay.
So this might not, well, as long as it's a PDF, this won't apply the steps that we're going over. But just to wrap up what I was showing,
Okay.
because the image that I put in when we're on the front page, it technically is broken. It's not showing up here. This is happening because the system by default is pulling the first like 3 or 4 lines of code from the HTML. And images are usually longer than that when it comes to the lines of code. So the system is not on purpose cutting the image code in half. So what we want to do is force the system or the site to read the entire code of that image. So I can go back in to a new draft, and all I have to do is copy from the body into the summary. So coming down back into the draft, I have this edit summary section. As soon as I click that, this gives me space to specify something different than what is in the body. And this is where I can paste in the HTML code of the image. So coming down to the body, all I have to do is click disable rich text because I want to see the HTML side. And I'm copying the whole thing. No nitpicking or having to know where to start and stop. And then you can enable rich text so that it's the pretty side again, and then paste in that crazy code.
Oh, yeah, summary.
Wow.
And once you publish that, the image should be displaying in its full size. There we go.
Wow,
Ah,
that's really good.
Good to know.
Very nice.
why does it say article for voters?
I created that name.
Did you have to have a name?
You do.
Okay.
Yeah.
So maybe you could have put like vote early in Nassau County or something.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Actually, you don't really need the page then. I mean, the article, it's all, you got everything you need,
No.
right?
I guess that's where I'm confused. But no, she had to put it somewhere. Well,
Well,
Gotta put
the
it
other
somewhere.
the other option too would be if you didn't want it to have all of this heading, you could add it directly like into the body of the home page if you wanted to do that. That would be a little well,
tricky.
it would be trickier, not harder because it's kind of the same editing. You would go through the same steps of adding it directly to the body rather than creating a new page to do the same steps. Let's go through that. It's essentially the same of coming up to the media browser and picking the image I want and submitting. Let's just go ahead and publish that to see what that looks like. So this is another way, and you could add your own headings if you wanted, or just leave it as is.
Yeah, I like that.
Rather than being able to unstick or unpromote an item like you would through if it were an article, you would have to go through a new draft of your home page and then remove that image and then publish once again.
I think it's interesting that you can put stuff like that in the summary because it doesn't have the menu across the top. I always thought the summary just had to be text because it doesn't allow you to make things bold and
Yeah,
I mean, it's
I
like
see.
you have to do that through HTML.
You do. You do have to do it through HTML, but it does take those formatting tags. The best way to do it without having to make up your own HTML would be typing it into the WYSIWYG box first.
Yeah, right.
And then copying it from there. So
Yeah.
just as we did earlier by disabling rich text, it shows us the full HTML side essentially with
Can
all
you
of those
put-
tags.
Can you put links and everything? All the stuff that you can do in the body, could you put that in the summary if you got the HTML and put it in there?
Yeah, so every single one of these buttons up here, whatever function you have with it will translate to some HTML tag that will be understood in the summary. So even if you probably could even get away with adding a table and it's still being translated properly. I won't go through that. But yeah, anything that you add into here, you can see it in the HTML.
I wonder why
Disable rich text.
that summary isn't WYSIWYG then.
I believe that we just left it that way in case I'm actually not sure. I think that because it is often related to search results or search engines, it's probably in some place a best practice to have it as a plain text box, but I'm not entirely sure.
So Amaris, what is the difference between the summary and the main body? Do they display in different places, or because for our website, I've only been managing and editing the body. I haven't been.
Yeah, they aren't conflicting. The summary or the homepage main body content, if the summary is empty, this takes over the job of the summary. So the first few lines of a page are taken as the summary if you are using the homepage main body content or the body. But if you want something to display differently, and let's actually use an example. It is easier than to probably talk it through.
Well, you often have this, if it takes it from the body, sometimes it cuts it off in a funny way.
Exactly.
So you want it
Has
to
that
control it.
right?
Yeah, that is probably one of the number one ways that we see it get used. That's pretty much how we made it work for here, because it wasn't the body was not picking up enough of the HTML code. We had to tell the summary, this is the full HTML code that you need to display. But let's use the DEI page. I think that I don't have the summary in use. Let's check that out. Oh, I do. Well, let's take it out. So we saw that it was showing this exact same text just because we wanted to strong arm that and not have it display what is at the very top of this body box. But let's do the opposite to show what that might look like. Oh, and there we go. Okay. So definitely has changed it up. And so this is one of those situations that might be helpful to use that summary because if you want this to show up differently, it's either adding into the summary or you would have to edit the body and that would alter the look of your page at that point.
Okay.
So is the bottom line that the summary is actually what shows up on the front page, but it's, if you leave the summary blank, it just grabs a certain amount of the body. And if that doesn't work for you, then you can put an explicit summary in there, and whatever it is, it's going to show up on that front page. Is that right?
That's right. And it's not just the front page, it's any list.
Okay, got it.
Awesome.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
Amaris, I don't know what the policy is at Milo, but do you need any support for your spending your time with us? We need to send some email telling them that this is very useful?
Oh, I feel like it wouldn't hurt. We could always use any testimonials or anything that you'd like to send our way. You can always send any of those comments to Milo, MYLO, at lwvc.org. I
But
appreciate that,
Amaris,
Liz.
I don't want to end because I never was able to fix that one thing I was telling you about. We had put in,
Oh, sure.
okay, if you could go to our place by any
Yeah,
chance.
let me go ahead and swap to masquerading as you.
Oh, Mary Jo, I'm glad you brought that up because of course my phone's been ringing off the hook and I was trying to work with it while we were.
Oh, okay.
And remind me again of the issue.
Okay.
Well, Peg, go ahead.
You want me to, when you're on in our course, in our shell, I'll show you. See this one, scroll down.
Mm-hmm.
The state and local, we had it, it looked more like
Oh,
this.
now, wait a minute. Look it's on there now.
Let me finish. No, I changed it, but I
Oh.
could never, and but I can't get it to go back. So let me, you want me to share my screen? Oh gosh, my dogs.
Yeah, let me see
Always
if
go
I
crazy in
can.
I can show you my screen real quick if you want.
Let's see if.
Oh, it's not showing up on the other one, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay,
or
I'm going
if
to
you want to
stop
go in.
share and then
Okay, here we
allow
go.
you.
Here we go. You should see it now. Oops, I always forget. You have to hit
There we
share
go.
in here. Okay, so when I went here to manage the content,
Mm-hmm.
let me show you what, we couldn't get it to change the verbiage on it. And come on. It's always so slow, I forget. Here, this is what we want it to look like, but this is what it's, and I
Do you
could
want it
only
to
get
be
it.
formatted differently?
We want
Oh,
it to look
no,
like
the
this,
wording.
the body. And it's not showing up like that.
Okay.
And
Well-
for some reason, it was written in summary in HTML. But I took that out and copied and pasted it, and that's why we're getting plain text.
Okay.
instead.
Yeah. If you want the image to show up and that special formatting to show up, all that pretty stuff, the HTML does have to stay in there. So just like we did earlier, you would have to use the
Yeah, and
disable.
unfortunately, my phone was ringing. I have to do what?
Oh,
Go
no
ahead,
worries. Click on disable rich text at the bottom of that body box
sorry. Okay.
and then copy everything that's there.
Come on. Copy. Do I want to enable it again?
Yeah, just so that we're left on the pretty side
Okay.
and then replace what's in the summary.
Okay, and then go ahead and publish it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now I know how to correct it in the future, Mary Jo.
Well,
I
no,
was like-
my thing was that we edited it to show that they were available now, but it never
Well,
took.
I was looking at other things. I don't know why that had stuff in the what you call it, in the summary or wherever, and not just the body.
So you
There
think
we
it had
go.
something to
It's
do with the
perfect.
summary?
There we
Yeah, the summary was written in HTML for what we had before in here.
Okay, so it took precedence.
Oh, I
maybe.
see.
Yes.
Okay. Yes, that is a good point. If you make a change to the body and the summary was already set, you have to make a change to both. So that's
Okay.
probably
I never even thought to look at summary. Okay, I was
probably
just
what
Well,
happened.
Mary
editing it.
Jo, honestly, I'm going to stop sharing. So I didn't even know either. I kind of like was looking at a couple different things and I went, why does that one have summary and why would one have summary and one not? Do you
Mm.
know?
I don't know. It must have been our young person that did it.
Yeah, by default they come or the content pages or that you make, the summary is not being used. So yeah, that is a manual change. I probably initiated that. But
Oh, it could have been, we have a young person who does this kind of for a living too, and she may have been the one too, or
She
or
forgot
maybe
too,
did.
because I asked her to look at it, yeah.
So
Oh,
if that's the case, just like how you did, Peggy, if I'm going to just mimic as if I were making changes. Let's say you came back into this to make changes to the body again. Oops. Let me let that load. If you, and I won't save this, if you added a word there, and all you would have to do is disable rich text again, copy this, and then replace what's in the summary with that. So yeah.
yeah, I
And
saw
so
you doing that when my phone was ringing. I'm like, no, I want to see this part.
if you put it in a summary, then that'll show up on the main page. You don't have, it won't say more.
It will
Or-
still say read more, but it won't cut something off in the middle of, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Mary Jo, that's why we couldn't get the change, because the summary was still written in the
Yeah,
HTML
I
code
get it. Yeah,
of that
okay.
original
I hope somebody
message.
else learned something new too, yeah.
Oh, that's so cool. Now we both know, Mary Jo.
I'm glad you brought that one up. Because I don't think I was fully grasping that one in the Milo group. So
Who'd have
thank
thought?
you for
Yeah.
bringing that one here.
And then I had a real quick question about membership. Okay, so I had a person that signed up on our join thing. She didn't go to the second page and pay, but anyway. So she sent something else to the website, and she says, I recently joined the league as a member, but I was told to contact the webmaster to be officially added as a member. And I think that, and then there was a link here, and that's where it says create an account, all that. Does that happen to everybody that tries to join? Because I think that's very confusing.
There is a login bar on most league sites, and there's a button to register. So it is definitely possible for somebody to request to register for an account. I'm assuming that they probably also had an email or requested an email sent to them or something. But
Well, that's what happened to this woman we were just talking about, the young one. So, but they're not going to get anything out of registering. That's only if you have a new or a member only area. Is that what you said before?
yeah, that's really
Okay.
the only benefit.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. It might be worth noting too, if your league does want to do away with the login bar,
Yeah.
it is a bit extra. I believe that it is $40 for that service, because we have our tech team help us to disable that login bar from your site.
Oh, so other leagues have done that.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So if we do that, then how can we log in?
You would have to log in at the Milo homepage or any other site that does have the login bar. Let me see if I can show one site that has done that.
Well, I just log in at the top somewhere.
Yeah, because your site does have the login bar. This is a site that doesn't have the login bar. Because I'm logged in, it's showing up. But we'll see as soon as I log out that that it took me to a different page. Let me jump back and refresh the page. Okay, so that's an example of a purple and gold site that doesn't have a login bar. They opted for that to be removed. Traveling anywhere throughout their site, there's just no login bar.
And then if we decided that we did want to have it because, well, if we were going to have a member only area, would we have to have that create an account thing?
You wouldn't need it. You would, if you went without it still, left the login bar off and developed your members only, you would just have to provide your members more instruction, telling them that they have to log in only at the Milo homepage or anywhere that features the login bar.
Trickier.
Yeah, it would probably be a little bit more back and forth with you and your members. But it is an option to re-enable it again.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's a charge involved with that. but I don't, it probably shouldn't be the same
Yeah.
amount.
Well, it is the second person that's gotten confused by it. Oh,
Amaris, I had a
thank
quick
you.
Yeah.
question on newsletter.
Yeah.
So we have a monthly newsletter, as I'm sure most leagues do, and we will always have a copy of the latest one on the homepage.
Mhm.
Displayed. And so I went to just change the link in the article. I created an article, stuck it to the homepage, and then the next month I just changed the link to the more current newsletter.
Mhm.
But of course, now we know why, because it was created a long time. The article was created a long time ago. It dropped down and wasn't where I wanted it to display.
Mm.
So should I make separate articles every month, or should I just manipulate the date?
Oh, I see.
I just didn't want to create a bunch of things that we don't really need in the future, because that's just
Mhm.
content that I have to sift through in the future. So, and
Yeah.
we keep kind of a library in a separate place of all the issues, past issues.
Mhm.
So does
It
that mess things up if we do it that way?
it doesn't. I would say the only thing if you felt that it was messing up your record in the back end, that's really the only consideration. But it sounds like it wouldn't be doing that. So for your ease of work, it sounds like changing the creation date would be the easiest way of doing that. I would imagine that you could probably get away with just kicking that creation date up a month each time.
Okay. Okay, because yeah, we just have a link on the bottom of that particular item that just says past issues, and it goes to a
Oh, I
page
see.
created that has all the issues together.
Awesome.
Because we felt like if we created separate articles every month, there wouldn't be a list that people could go to. They'd have to find each article separately.
Oh yeah, that's true too. And that is nice of for the user, definitely.
Okay, all right, thanks.
Yeah.
And I just want to say on the issue of newsletters, I don't know how many people use Constant Contact, but by adding that $5 a month thing to our subscription to archive, it's been great. And you just click archive and
Oh
it
yeah.
shows up. So
Let
it's
me,
really nice.
You
You've
have
got it
any,
really going on, Mary Jo.
What is it?
You really are doing a good job with that. They're all in there.
Oh
That's
yeah,
great.
here it is. Just
And I'm
wanted
going
to
to
show
take
that
some of
off
them off
again.
because not all of them are newsletters, but they're important enough for me for right now for the, and there must, Amaris, she's already told me that there's a way I can get it off the front. But for now,
Mhm.
just have it on the newsletter page. But for now, it's all important because it's all voting stuff.
is
It's
that
down
for
at the bottom,
everybody?
so I don't.
Is that for everybody to see? Because
Yeah,
we
This
have
one
to-
here. Mm-hmm.
I do not, I do, well, we do 2 newsletters. I do one called a public, I'm calling it news now. And it goes to about 450 people. And so those are new supporters and members. And then I started to do one only, I was doing like an email before to members, but now I'm making it a little more formal. So it looks like a voter. And if we ever have a members only area, then we'll post it there. But this is for the public, so.
Oh, so the ones you're showing in from Constant Contact are the public ones.
Yeah,
Yeah, I've been just uploading all our newsletters, and then I have on the newsletter page just the links, and I always put the newest one on top, and that's promoted to the front page, so you always see the links to the current
Awesome.
newsletter.
Okay,
So
okay.
another possible way to do it.
Kind of the way we do.
Is that?
I think that's kind of the way we've set it up. Is there's just
Yeah.
a newsletter, a past newsletter page that people can go to.
Mhm. But you have the actual text on your front page or a link to it?
It's just a link.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so the way that I have it, it automatically creates the archive and it shows the most recent thing on the top, on the front page.
Ah, and is that through Constant Contact or MailChimp or something?
No, I just, we send out our newsletter attached to an email and it's a PDF. And then I just upload those PDFs. And each time we have a new one, I put the newest one at the top.
Okay.
And so that it automatically shows up because you see the top
Yeah.
on the front page, the top of whatever you.
Thank you.
The top of the body there.
Yeah, so I
Awesome.
mean, just another option.
Yeah, because it all depends on your format of newsletter. If you're working with PDFs, yeah, making use of the media library is the easiest way to go.
Mhm.
All of ours are in MailChimp.
Oh, and that is well, that in and of itself is pretty easy because you usually can work with the links.
Yeah, that's
And
good.
then just another way. And then if they offer an embeddable option like Constant Contact with Mary Jo, then that's just yet another way to show your list that way.
Yeah, I should investigate.
Hmm. Yeah, I would imagine that MailChimp can't be far behind.
Hey, Amaris,
Mhm.
I have, is that how you pronounce your name?
It's
I read it all the time and I'm not sure how to pronounce it. Like Kamala,
no worries. It's Amaris.
Amaris. Okay. I was just wondering if you guys have made any progress or if you have any intent to create recurring calendar events. I think we had a back and forth about that a while back. Because we have, like monthly meet the members meetings and, 5 different cities within our county. And I have to go in every month and change the dates on all of them. And it'd be really nice if I could just have them be recurring.
Yeah, I haven't heard word yet of an update. I can check in. I have another note here to make sure that I'll check in with the tech team, and I'll see if that is an available kind of task or way of doing things with our calendar through the system, how it is now. Yeah, because I'm pretty sure that many other leagues could benefit from that.
Recurring meetings, I mean, you can put them in Google Calendar and pretty much any calendar, Outlook, whatever, they all support recurring events. And it would be really nice not to have to go in every month and change the dates on all 5 of them.
Right. Yeah, I appreciate that one. That I will let you know what they tell me as far as yes or no.
Okay, great. Just if they're not looking at it, consider this a request.
There we go. Yeah, I'll make sure that this whether it's an update or the initial request, it gets by them. It popped into my mind. I just want to make sure to mention the documentation videos. I have finally transferred, for the most part, all of them to our YouTube channel. Let me pull that up while we're here. So I believe that and I will post more about this in the Google group once more of them are ready. But here is our, let's see, sorry. Okay, this is our channel, League of Women Voters of California. Most of the recent uploads are all going to be Milo, or you can, let's see, there usually is a playlist button here, but my League Online is the playlist. Why don't I share this here in the chat? But you can start checking those out if any of you do take a look at those or watch those. Feel free to add comments if you see or find a section of it helpful, and just to tell us what that section was about. I will be honest, I'm having a hard time rewatching all of these webinars so that I can put a description in them. So please
This and
help
that.
me. Yeah, and I'm like, it's about Milo. So any help that you can provide, but please do not watch these if you're not inclined to do so. But yeah, I think that we're going to do a lot better having our webinars and things on YouTube, because you can then search for stuff just by Googling it. Let's,
Right. Yeah.
Oh, I see.
because if I search Milo and let's say, I wonder if I search office hours, is that going to come up with something?
There it is. Yeah, my office.
Did you have, okay, yeah, YouTube. So as long as you have, you know, the word Milo and any other terms that are related, then you should have some kind of YouTube results. You may also have our written documentation. So like if I did edit a page, we have the my.lwv.org as a result
Oh,
in some of these. So that's another way, rather than having to scour through the documentation, you can just search through Google.
That usually works really well.
But our government wants to get rid of our Google running our world.
Yeah, and it's not terrible, but yeah, I definitely see the benefits and drawbacks of that. Awesome.
Thanks, everybody. It's been a great
Yeah.
session.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank
Next
you
time.
all for
Thank
keeping
you,
this
Amaris.
one.
Very much.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you all. It's the same to
Thank
you.
you,
And
Amaris.
Will you have one in 2 weeks, do you think? Did we
yes,
already say? Okay.
we haven't scheduled just yet.
Okay.
Well, I don't
You know
think
what?
I have anything pressing. I think I should know. Let me take a quick look if you guys want to stick around
Yes, please.
Yes.
while I solidify the next date. Okay. Oh yeah. Okay. So then let's go with the 9th. November 9th. That's a Monday. And November 9th. And let's make that at 11 a.m. Pacific time.
Okay.
So that's 2-hour time, I think. Oh, I'm sorry. We're in the East Coast.
Yeah. Yeah. So Monday,
you'll send
November
out a Zoom-
9th.
Okay. And you'll
Yeah,
send
and
out a
it'll,
Zoom link?
it
Okay.
should be the same, but I definitely will send out another update.
We don't need to register, right?
Correct. Just show up